Thank you very much, Maria. Hello, everyone, as well. My name is Rafael Pedroso. This time I'm here as an admissions officer at the new center. I have also worked as student services representative, as Maria mentioned, for the last 4 years. And but my history with the new center began even a little bit before that, when I joined as a certificate student in 2020. And at the time that I joined, I was working on my master's in international relations, and I'd like to say that I owe a great deal to the new center, particularly because of the institution has given me the tools for reorienting my research at the time, and also the chance to workshop with many interesting scholars and peers and everything about my topics of research, and also basically having a sort of a place of debate in which I could hear more about other perspectives as well. The new center is a very international environment. As you see, I am speaking to you from Brazil. We have people both working with us and also from the student body from many places, from the Philippines to the US to London to and the UK in general to France to many places. And I'm very happy to be here representing the new center and talking to you as prospective students. And I hope that if you think this opportunity is for you, that your journey is as fruitful as mine. And to tell you a bit about the institution itself, the new center is a 10-year old, now entering its 11th year institution whose central mandate has been to provide new possibilities for our members and students, particularly those that work outside or in between existing institutional frameworks in the arts, humanities, and sciences. If you look at our 10 years of history within, and you can do that by going to our archive page, you will see that even though a lot has changed during those now 11 years, you will notice that there is a very consistent curatorial proposal with the new center, which is first being committed to what is happening at the present, and second, being committed to extremely rigorous forms of scholarship. And the third very important point to us is the fact that within the new center, you will find that there is always a mixture of consolidated thinkers with thinkers that are like early career with very interesting and fresh ideas. So you can see throughout our seminar selections throughout the years, you will see both of those demographies represented. And we are also very happy to notice that a lot of the times, many of the people that we in the beginning of their careers that have actually taught with us have gone to develop amazingly interesting work that was widely recognized. Within our archives, you can see many things, for example, like a class we have this seminar in our archive by Benjamin Bratton right before the publishing of The Stack, by Yuk Hui right before the publishing of his book. So we see ourselves as a platform truly for that scholars as well can experiment with their ideas while they teach. And we strongly believe this is not only a commitment to trend chasing itself, but actually, as we see, to building, to having the finger in the pulse of the current cultural and political predicament, and also for always offering you something relevant throughout your stay at the new center. And on par with what you can see in our archive, if you look at our past archive, there are plenty of traditional seminars that were offered. There's never a repetition of a seminar, so you are going to see that. That's also a part of our commitment, different from usual universities where you have somebody has to teach like intro to something or those types of subjects. Here we have always the proposal of seminars that are fundamentally different and crafted for a specific moment. So this is how our history has been writing itself. And in this semester, as you can see, and this is something consistent with the last, I think, at least 2 years, we have started working not only with seminars, but also with workshops. And with the workshops, we want to address what we think is gap within within the humanities, and particularly within the arts, which is there is a lot of the times there's a lot of talk about theory in places that are very focused in theory, or only in practice in places that are only focused in practical like skills, just carving or like any usage of media really. But instead we try to actually offer workshops on skills that we think that become more and more relevant. So for example, we have hosted many writing workshops with emphasis in different types of text, be it long form writing, short form writing, short art criticism as well, and also prompt writing for working alongside AI tools as an artist or as a theorist. And this semester we are offering a very special selection of workshops. The first one that I'd like to mention is a workshop by Vaclav Janoušík, a Czech scholar who will conduct a workshop on gaming, particularly using Unreal Engine for producing artificial worlds. The second one by Matthew Donovan from New York, who will present a workshop about developing scholarly networks and that can thrive within our current predicament full of epistemic bubbles. Another one, João Enxuto and Erica Love from New York as well. They're going to teach a workshop titled Prototyping the Para-Institutional, which is about the emergence of alternative institutions such as the New Center as well, and also other types of institutions within the art world. I think I can say that Call for Curators is also one of these institutions that come right after like the 2008 financial crisis, Arab Spring, and many instances of political change and changing to the structure of financing within the arts. And also one by Romulo Moraes, who is about musical criticism and writing of musical criticism, and also like different forms of music criticism, not only limited to writing, but also criticism through videos and so on and so forth, that has been quite popular for those who follow the music scene. And as you will see, these workshops come to complement our selection of seminars. I'm going to go over the selection of seminars a bit further into this conversation, but and particularly this year, we have a new thing in which the workshops are actually open to the public free of charge for the first session, right? So the first session of those workshops, you are going to be able to see if the workshop is something you would be interested in. And then if it is, you can enroll on that workshop independently. All of our seminars are also open for enrollment independently, but if you become a certificate student, you're able to take during the first year of your studies as many seminars as you'd like, and complete those seminars and have those seminars towards the certificate program. So far, as you can see, we have many ways of being engaged with the new center. Right now, what are open are our scholarship applications. And if you apply for one of those scholarships, as I mentioned, you are going to be able to take a selection of the seminars and of the workshops that are available right now. And during your first year, you'll be able to complete as many seminars and workshops as you want, to a minimum of 10, which is the requirement we have for in our expected image of what the progression of a certificate program looks like. And we have currently 4 programs within the new Center for Research and Practice. We have first the Critical Philosophy program led by Reza Negarestani, who is a program that is focused on people who are eager to explore concepts that are very interesting for philosophy within with a contemporary twist. So, for example, the concepts of rationality, intelligence, all of them have been on the field for at least the last 20 years. And these concepts are here reevaluated in the context of also bringing together a rigorous training in philosophy with attention to the present, and also different traditions of philosophy, from continental philosophy to analytic philosophy, and bringing them together and focusing on what we call question-driven philosophy, which is driven by important philosophical questions of our time. Another program we have also is Transdisciplinary Studies, which is led by Jason Mohageg. And this is our alternative to what traditional academia has conventionally called comparative literature. And this is basically a program that is focused on a unique collusion of literature, writing, psychoanalysis, vernacular knowledge, and everything in between all of those fields to actually focus on cultivating new ecologies of knowledge and talk about individual transformation through the deployment of unique disciplines together in one. The other program, which I think is the more interesting to you, but again, we had, since I'm talking mostly with people here from the arts and particularly within curating, we have had people from curators in all of our programs. So all of these programs could fit for you if you think it makes sense with your practice or where your research is going. But our third program here is Art and Curatorial Practice, who is directed by our programmer, Cecile Malaspina. And this program revolves and particularly about how practical questions and critical questions within the art world could be balanced with conceptual rigor. Which here, particularly when we talk about art and curatorial practice, relate to the relationship between concepts, percepts, and affects that are specific to creative practices, as well as the role that different mediums can have in affecting that structure of concept, perception, and affect, right? And this program draws with knowledge from also the natural sciences sometimes, and also many other types of different interesting scholars from the human sciences. And it is very interesting for those who want to amplify their own curatorial practice and also like more specifically focus on curatorial research. And the last program that we have here is History, Design, and Worldmaking by Thomas Moynihan. And this program came as a response to particularly to the current juncture that we live in, which is the Anthropocene. And as a response to the Anthropocene, this program tries to bring together knowledges from design, architecture, and philosophy, and to address the planetary scale impact and risks that humanity faces today. And here, when we talk about this conundrum of history, design, and world making, we're talking particularly both about reading the world through artifaction in a way, through the way that those objects and structures and structures of thought as well are produced, but also how these pertain to architecture, design, and how these are historicized within architecture and design. So it's a program that acts on this juncture, particularly suitable for those who are interested in the Anthropocene and the environment and how to historicize those within creative disciplines as well. And as you can see from our seminars page, which I'm going to share in a second, we have a very large selection of seminars that happen within the News Center. And I think you can see it now. And so we have, when you go to our website, and I'm going to give all these links to you here right below. And when you go to our website, you can see here the seminars that we are offering, right? So here you can see the list of seminars. And when you join a program through the scholarship, you can select seminars from any program. So this is also interesting because, for example, like even if you joined within the arts and then you're really interested in this seminar by Anna Longo about Foucault beyond neoliberalism, there is no bureaucracy for you to like, oh, you cannot take this seminar because it's not within your program. No, we actually encourage people to take an experiment within as many programs as possible. And as you can see, the seminars are relative, and the workshops as well, they're relatively short. They span from 4 to 8 sessions. So that means that, and most of them happen on the weekends. So you are actually able to balance that with any other commitments that you may have during your own professional life. And we have had a lot of success in that, in terms of like having people that actually juggle together sometimes a job, PhD or master's program, and also the certificate at the new center. And I'll just show you here the workshops page, so you can see some of our options as well that I was mentioning here. You can see this workshop program by Matthew Donovan that I had mentioned, building intellectual communities beyond the academic bubble. And all of these are available both if you want to enroll in them as a one-time thing to get to know better the new center, our methodology, and our pedagogical proposal, or you can also pick them if you decide to go for our more structured certificate programs, right? So just to give you a little bit about the premise of these certificate programs, when you are at a certificate program, what we ask of you is basically the certificate program lasts for 2 years. So for the first year, you're going to be taking seminars, soaking as much knowledge as possible. And on that first year, you're going to be basically you can pick as many seminars as you want, depending on your own time constraints, except in like exceptional cases if we have a seminar that is a full. But on your first year of your studies, you have absolute priority in taking seminars. So if you join us in like the first session will begin in March. So if you join us around that time, that means that anything happening from this March to next March, meaning that like these seminars all that I've shown you on the website, they all happen until they will take place until around July and August. And there's a next selection of seminars that's going to be announced in July that you are also have priority to take, right? And our intake, as you see, is by 6 months, but on the first year you have priority for that. And on the second year, the idea is that you are going to develop your final work, which can be basically which is going to be advised by the scholar from the main programmer from the program of your choice. For example, if you are on art and curatorial practice, the person that is going to be evaluating and giving feedback on your work is going to be Cecile Malaspina. And you're going to have throughout the second year, you're going to have 2 meetings with her. One usually when you have already a draft, and the second one just to iron out last couple of details. We've had people that have delivered longer form articles or essays, but we also had people delivering exhibition texts, exhibition projects. So everything is extremely broad there. We also had people, artists that developed things in other mediums such as video or mixed media works and performances as well. And yes, we have, so this is basically what the program looks like. You also have touch points with our organizer, Mohammed Salemi, who is somebody that teaches you, like connecting you with other people as well within the field that you're interested in. This is also something that we proactively in student services do. We can be like for instance, supporting you on your future applications and masters and PhDs or other types of residencies and programs that may require to know a little bit from your educational background. And this is pretty much our own way to actually make sure that you are well inserted within our own network, but also that you are connected to even more people, right? Within after your stay after graduating on the program. And after you finish the program, you can still be affiliated with the new center. If you're an independent person, you could still list yourself as a researcher. So that's also something that has served me very well, because even though although I work at the new center, I also have a research practice. And being affiliated with the new center, still having institutional email and everything has helped me a lot on handling my own practice and promoting it, and also uh, being promoted within the New Center network has helped me have a lot of more visibility, even though doing my work independently. And I think that's all that I wanted to say from about the process. I'm going to briefly share my screen to you and show and talk about the requirements for applying. And after that, I'd love to hear questions from you. And yeah. So here, as you can see, this is if you're going to apply, you're going to see the form here on the apply page. After the apply page, you're going to see this form, which is the form. We use an extremely simple form because we are mostly interested in like knowing more about you, but without too many questions or like letters of recommendation from other people or things of the sort. We're here the requirements to apply are basically filling up this questionnaire and selecting tentatively what seminars you're interested in, a letter of intent, and a writing sample. The writing sample can be an excerpt of something that you have worked on, or can be something that you want to work on this time around, right? And within the New Center, it could be also like an excerpt of your thesis or something of the sort. And also you pick the program that you're applying for. And the letter of intent is basically because we're on the scholarship applications, highlighting your need for a financial scholarship. The tuition fee of our program without the scholarship is of $5,000. And this is divided within a payment plan. If you're interested in taking the program like without a scholarship, and we are offering scholarships right now that range between 10-20% to full scholarships as well that are being offered. And if you are somebody from the Global South, because we are very understanding of the currency differences and difficulties and so on and so forth, we offer also a specific Global South scholarship of 50% for that amount, which allows people to actually get either like guarantee that they're going to pay 50% less or get even a little bit more scholarship depending on the quality of their application and of our own availability of scholarships. So at that, as you can see, the form is pretty simple. And yeah, I'd love to hear if you have any questions, concerns, or if you're thinking about applying as well. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Rafael. Yeah, I can start with some questions that I have. And yeah, if you want to jump in, yes, please unmute yourself or yeah, put a question in the chat. So first of all, yeah, thank you for presenting. And can you clarify the letter of intent for us? Is this because you would apply with a writing sample and then the letter of intent, is that a cover letter outlining your intentions for the program, kind of what you're interested in, the areas of research, and the need for scholarship? Is that correct?
Yes, yes. So it doesn't need to include any form of recommendation, right? It is solely, we want to know three things on your letter of intent. The first one is like what are you interested in? How can the New Center help that? And what is your need for a scholarship? So this is what we're looking for there, right? And of course, the letter has usually like we don't expect anything more than 2 pages max, like 1 page short, ideal, because the idea is that your writing sample more or less represents what you're interested in. Of course, I don't also expect that like the writing sample, because a lot of people sometimes ask me that in the email. They're like, oh, but Rafael, I have this thing that I wrote a couple of like months ago, but like I don't agree with some of it anymore. So, but can I send that? And yes, the idea is like knowing sort of where you're going, but not where you're going to be. It's not a project. We don't expect that you have like a project. We know that you're going to develop that throughout the seminars. And trust me, there's a lot of work there to do that. And there's a lot of chances and touch points of working together with your colleagues for that. So there's going to be plenty of ideas there to be followed on. And I just saw one question here. that I wanted
Yeah.
to address by Andrea Farias. Thank you very much, Andrea, for the question, which is about the program being remote. Yes, the program is fully remote. We do have sometimes, in collaboration with our student body, which is spread all around the world, we do have some in-person events. These could be like book launches, for example, lectures, and these things that are usually done in collaboration with the New Center plus an institution on that place, and then sort of like bring these two together to do a more local event that then we try to like archive and show to everybody within our network. But all the classes, all of these things are remote. So submissions of work are remote, everything is remote. And this has been, it's interesting that like we have done this for 10 years, right? Which means that we got the pandemic right at the middle, which was an interesting thing because everybody went online and we were already natively online. So everybody was like, oh, some people that would know us only through that period, they were like, oh, but it's going to like, is it going to be like to return to not being online? We're like, no, we're born online. We don't solely stay online, but we are online natives, right? So that's something that stick to our DNA in a way. And there was also another question here from Maxine Polito. This is to
Yeah.
work alongside a master's degree, not a replacement for a master's degree, correct? Uh, yes, Maxine. So this we're not an accredited program, and but the main and one of the main things that people have like that we have been known for from our student body is that we are very good at complementing what they are learning within university. But we also have people from different backgrounds, even though we offer like it's not mandatory, for example, that somebody like is doing a master or is doing a PhD at the moment. We have a lot of people that they have sometimes just finished a bachelor's and they want to do a master's, but they don't know what they want to do or where. And then like taking the program is something that helps them figure that out while they also get some professional experience here and there, or while they are studying for something else. So there's all of these. And also we don't limit we don't pose you a CV requirement for, so for example, we have had outstanding students that were autodidact, that they had, I don't know, 10 years of an artistic practice and haven't really like, sometimes they have degrees, but they haven't really been to art school, for example. And then we like we're welcoming them in the art and curatorial practice program. And I would say that another utility of the program is when you want to go from one area to the other. And I say this as myself, like I was from a international relations program. I wanted to venture into philosophy, and the program has allowed me to do that. And
Mm.
yeah, it was something that definitely stuck to me.
There's a new question in the chat from Clara.
Yeah.
It says, thank you for these insights. I'm interested in the Art and Curatorial Practice program. Would an exhibition review be considered an effective writing sample?
Definitely, definitely. I was actually like I had we have been doing because we had a first round of submissions. So like there were quite a few exhibition reviews that were submitted as writing sample, and they're very useful actually because it also gives us a hint into what type of art you're interested in and what's your sensibility while looking at it. So it's a very, 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 very good idea to send one of those. And there was also a question here by
Yeah.
Wilmot, uh, which is how many hours a week do we have lessons and how many hours do we have to put in the program on the side? This is because the way that our program is structured, Wilmot, it is that you pick the seminars that you want. So I'm gonna give you like one practical example here. So when you look at our seminars page here, you can see that all of the programs, they give you like what is the dates in which the seminar happens and also the time. And then usually the session of the seminar is 2.5 hours. One session is 2.5 hours. So along 4 weeks, you're going to have one session if you enroll in one seminar. And then one of the things that I always advise people when they're picking them is to like, you have a look at your, you pick first everything you like, and then you put it in your calendar, and then you think, right? That like, okay, can I do that with my routine? Because some people have other responsibilities like family on the weekends and all of those things, but we I always say that like it depends on how many activities you have on the side. Usually you have to calculate that like 2.5 hours is the time of the session, plus you're gonna need at least like 2 hours a week to read the reading material. Some seminars require more, some seminars require less, but all the sessions are recorded. So like if you have to miss a session, you can check that. If you didn't have time sometimes to like read everything, it's also fine because then you can actually read it afterwards. So that depends a lot, but your schedule is almost like 90% done by you. The only thing that we require from you is that on your first year of your studies, you'd always take the seminar given by your programmer. So for instance, if within the art and curatorial practice, you would be taking Cecile's seminar. Now, we know that this requirement is like if it absolutely doesn't work for you, we can give you an alternative to that as well and like work something around. And the idea here is that we try to be as flexible as possible with schedule. Because our idea with the new center is never that like we never want you to think about doing the program as what you would be thinking about like going to college, for example. That like when you go to college, you have things that you do because you like, and you have things that you do because it's your obligation, right? And things that like because you have to do them in that way, and you can't really like move them around or anything. And it yeah,
There's a
there's a
follow-up.
follow-up question. Yeah, nice. Contact with other people do you have together lectures? Yeah, so this is like all the lectures are like you're gonna be with everybody in a room, kind of similar to how we are here, right? So that's like definitely something. And so you're gonna have everybody there. We also, in most of the seminars, this is something on our pedagogical model. We try to always have something that forces you to work in a group with your colleagues. So, for example, when you're presenting readings, right? We want you to do that not only like by yourself, present a text, but also whenever possible, we want you to do that as a group. So like a group of people to speak about the same thing. And then that creates all sorts of collaborations. Like I have very, like this was something that started when the time that I was in the program. And I remember that one of the best experiences that I had in my life, like in terms of research, was to work together with people from the history design and role making program. Because I was like very within like writing and political theory and everything. And like I remember that I wrote a text and then somebody just came with a beautiful diagram and I was like, that's it. That's really it, right? So we definitely emphasize that capacity of working together with people whenever if within the seminar setting. But you also can like it's not out of our it's not out of possibility at all that you submit, let's say, the final work for a seminar as together with a colleague. Like we had plenty of cases of that. And it's also something we really appreciate, actually.
Yeah, in terms of kind of collaborating and the opportunities that
Mhm.
the center offers, um, yeah, kind of, can you talk a little bit more about access to the lectures? And I know that there's also a publishing wing of the new center. So are there any opportunities in there for people who might want to publish?
Yes, yes. Thank you very much, Maria. So, first about the publishing house. We have Triple Ampersand Publishing, right? Which is like there's two sides to Triple Ampersand Publishing. Let me share the screen with you. Okay. So this is our Triple Ampersand Publishing platform. Here, as you can see, we have like the articles, books, side. So this is a piece that we published very recently by with Nice. And then as you can see, like there's also Cornering the Critics, Byron Structure, Chantato, and yeah, all of these pieces here, they can be submitted by people outside of the news center or within the news center. So this, for example, is a piece from a student. This is from somebody like a student as well. This is from an instructor, but we also have pieces that are not by any of these groups, for instance. And for like when you come here, you can see that like this is published and we publish all those pieces there and we publish them weekly. So if you send us a submission, you may be contemplated for like being weekly published, and then we promote the piece. So this is an output for like more shorter text usually. And we also have a printing initiative here that we have published these books already. Minor Bestiary by Eduardo Neves from the ISAP Porto, very interesting art school in Porto, who's also an institutional partner of ours. And Model is the Message, which is a book. So this is, yeah, Minor Bestiary. This is a book available for to be purchased right now. And this is a extremely interesting translation of this author that comes from Portugal. Very interesting critique of the art world, also drawing on Borges, Derrida, and Deleuze. And this is an output from a conference that we have done. Model is the Message. And as you can see, we had here like text from people that were not really like affiliated with the New Center, from instructors, but also from students that we have invited to contribute to the book and also to the conference. So we do have the possibility of both like publishing the outcome of these events and also of like publishing established scholars and also scholars who might have a book proposal for us. And we also propose like this is a translation that was done of François Laruelle's first monography, Phenomenon and Difference, on the ontology of Ravesson. And yeah, we have been expanding our publishing initiative. So there's definitely more room to grow over there and also like to be doing other work in terms of publishing. Maria, what was the first part of the question? Can you repeat for me, please?
It's related to the collaborations with other students and this
Yeah,
kind of relationships that you have with the
perfect.
lecturers. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, so we are very open to organizing events with both like students and instructors. I'll give you one example from last year, but we have done this many times before. So last year we organized together with two instructors a conference in London titled Marxism and the Pittsburgh School. This was a venture from some instructors from our critical philosophy, but also Art and Curatorial Practice program. And that was something that was organized in through them. We found a collaboration with the institution there, the Royal Holloway Hall of Philosophy. And also we had students from London only a year before, I think, that organized an event called Unlearning Nihilism, which was fully organized by the students in partnership with a local university. And we have partnerships also with other institutions. So one example is the ISAP Porto, which is the Superior Contemporary Art School of Porto, which like we have hosted, for instance, the New Center 10th anniversary event lecture was in Porto. We had also last year we did a lecture series of Reza Negarestani through Europe, collaborating with very different institutions, AIL in the Netherlands, the Pickle Bar in Berlin, and also the Academy of Arts in Prague. So we are always trying to collaborate with institutions and to actually both through the students and through the instructors. There's not really a hierarchy there. Like a student can actually be catalyst of a local collaboration that can then become an event and so on and so forth. And yeah, that's quite common, and you'll see that a lot through the time of your studies. There's an interesting question by Andrea Farias here, which is about that it started 10 years ago. Is there a founder, or how did it happen? So actually, this is an interesting story, because we were talking about events. And one of the first events that was quite influential for some of the people that founded the new center was the Incredible Machines Conference. And around that time, the three people from New York, who were the founders, Jaden Adams, Tony Yannick, and Mohammed Salemi, they were also like around the scene on Incredible Machines, and they organized this event in New York that was also broadcasted. And then there was at least this is how uh, currently the person, like only one of the founders is actively working with us, which is Mohammed Salemi. And I always like when I ask him about this history of the news center, he always tells me that like we realized within 2014 that all those people that were meeting in academic conferences or in exhibitions once or twice a year, they wanted to meet more. And that's how things usually came about, right? Because there was like such an effervescence of like different people from different places meeting there. And then they realized that these types of engagement were actually very good because they lasted for like 1 week in which people were there and they were very productive, but people longed to stay in touch and they had each other's contacts, but they didn't have a platform to do that. And other people that were interested in the event didn't have a platform to go sometimes. They couldn't afford to like fly to New York to go to an event. And so this is how like what was the reasoning came about, like this deep-rooted demand from the humanities academics and also scholars and independent researchers to actually meet in a more mindful manner and collaborate throughout a larger span of time on different projects, and not only just on a conference in a very limited and unfortunately very like constrained fashion, right?